The Seven Rock Studio presents The End of the Iron Curtain. Here's the view tower. There'll be a nice view. Blimey, the view tower, you fools. Don't you know that the Iron Curtain was here? What, a curtain in the woods? And made of iron? And what are you? Let me introduce myself. I am a mascot, a toy mannequin. Do you really want to know what the Iron Curtain was? So lend me your ear. The most terrible war ended in Europe. The surviving people wanted to live in peace. It was World War II and the Allies won. Great Britain, France, the United States, and the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union was the largest country in the world then. It was always firmly governed by communist dictators. The Soviet Army overran most parts of Eastern and Central Europe. Wherever the Soviets came, they introduced totalitarian, anti-democratic regimes. The communists built barbed wire fences all around these countries. The impassable frontier started to be called the Iron Curtain. The barbed wires? What for? Why? To prevent people to go and see if their Western neighbors were better off, to see one another, to make friends, to settle wherever they would like to. The Iron Curtain split the families up, the friends, it divided whole Europe into the West and the East. In West European countries, there were free elections. These governments strived for better cooperation in economics and politics. This was the beginning of European integration. People could travel to other countries as they liked. The governments granted them the right of private ownership. They had the freedom of association and of speech. In the East, we couldn't even dream about anything like that. Many people tried to flee from the East to the West, but it was very dangerous. Some managed to get through, but thousands lost their lives when trying to get across the border. Attempts at leaving the eastern countries were considered a crime, and only to talk about it meant risking imprisonment. In 1949, the Czechoslovak ice hockey players won the World Championship in Stockholm. Back in Prague, they criticized the government. And in a pub, they were talking about leaving the country, but a communist police snooper was listening. But why did so many people flee to the West? Why don't we say East or West, home is best? I wouldn't like to leave my home. So let's try to live behind the Iron Curtain. What do you look like? Freaks. How dare you come to school like this? The communists didn't like it if people tried to make things their own way. For instance, if you look different from others, just fancy what happened when a boy had long hair. If the communists had a grudge against someone, they didn't let him get to high school. Such kids were sent away to do manual work and became hicks. You couldn't even listen to the music you liked. People traded secretly in the discs and LPs smuggled from the West. What wasn't expressly allowed was forbidden. Why is there a line outside every shop? Under those totalitarian regimes, there was a shortage of everything, and often the most usual things couldn't be had. The communists wanted to have all printed books and papers under control. They heavily punished people who distributed printed matters not approved by them. Most of all, they feared free, independent thoughts and information. The radio, the TV, and the newspapers had to paint a rosy picture of our economic management. However, under the communist management, the economics went from bad to worse. Which was the main reason for the falling down of the Iron Curtain at the end of the 1980s. And in this way, the all-European integration started. But in some parts of the world, the totalitarian dictatorship survived. They deny their people the basic human and civil rights. That's why we should support those who try to break similar barriers and walls between people and nations down.